Okay, so welcome to this Blender project-based beginners course. Now we're going to be modeling a simple rabbit in this class. So first things first, we're going to start with a reference image. To import a reference image, all we have to do is go to where the file is saved, then drag the image and drop it into our scene. We'll click on Alt G to bring the image to the center of the world. Click on N. We want to reset the rotation because, as you can see, we want to be flat, and from what we are seeing, it's not flat. Okay, so select all and click on 0 and boom, it's now flat. Let's go over to the front view using numpad 1. If yours doesn't work, just go back to edit, go to preferences, under input, go to emulate numpad, and then you can go to 1 for the front view, 3 for the side view, and etc, etc. Okay, so we want the image now to be facing in our direction, to look at us. So all we have to do is rotate it. So select the image. This orange outline on the side will indicate that you have selected the image. So select the image and then we'll rotate it. But what axis do we actually rotate it on to actually make it face us? Well, we have to just test it out. But from the look of things, we can see that there are only two axes here. We have the Z axis, which is this guy here, and we have the X axis, which is this guy here. Okay, so in order for it to face us, we have to just try it out. Okay, let's not just jump into conclusion and say it's this one. I want you to really understand what's happening. So let's try it out. So let's drop it. Let's drop this anode. Ctrl Z. You don't need to do this painting thing like this. Let's stick to the bit. If we go and rotate R in the Z axis, you've seen it's going round. The same thing that happens here. The same thing that happens here. R, Z axis, going just round. So for it to face us, definitely we have to use the X axis. So we go R, X axis, and then as we rotate, you can see the image rotating towards our direction. So let's lock it in a particular angle so that it faces us directly. Now before that, I want you to observe something. On this left hand side of your screen, when I click on rotate X axis, there are numbers there changing as I'm rotating it. Okay, so in order for me to specifically lock this axis so that it looks at me well, I have to rotate it to the point where it looks as if it's flat enough. See what I'm saying? So if I go R X axis and then I rotate, it looks flat enough on almost 90 degrees. Is at -84. So I'm just going to say -90 degrees and see what happens. -90 and boom, see, looks at us directly. If I select this cube and I G X move it, you can see that it's looking at us flat. But then something is wrong again. The image is one-sided. We want it to actually rotate again. We want it to rotate like this so that it's sitting, so that here will be here like this. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we rotate it now? Well, it's all about trial and error, honestly, because there's no like surefire way. So let's go R, rotate. Okay, I think that was easier. So without logging it in any axis, just click on R and rotate, and then observe the angle again, and we can see that it's almost equal or almost flat, like sitting at 90 degrees if you observe. So let's try -90 and see what happens. Boom, sitting down directly. So that is that. So that's how you rotate. It's not really, there's no rule to it. You have to do trial by error to get what you want. Okay, now let's start off with modeling. So we select our cube, we click on Alt G. Alt G means to return the cube to the center of the world. Now we have an issue, and the issue is now is we want to make this cube to be the shape of our bunny head at the back. But the thing now is that if I scale my cube, we can no longer see the bunny head. So how do we make our cube visible and also our bunny head visible, that it gives us the ability to make this cube into the bunny head shape? Okay, and it's very simple. All you have to do is select the image, go to here, which is called the image data. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's called the image data. Click on it, then you will see transparency. I'm actually using Blender 2.8. okay, but in other versions you will see transparency there, where my own says use alpha. So I'll click on use alpha. Your own can be transparency, so click on transparency. I click on use alpha, and then as you start to push this thing down, our image starts to be transparent. Are you seeing it? Okay, starts to be transparent. But what about the cube? It's still not changing. So what do we do now? Come here under depth and select front, and boom, we can now see the cube and the bunny at the same time. so we can model it easily like this. Hope you're following. So that's how you do it. So depth, front, and then reduce the transparency to you get something that you feel is a balance between the two of them. So I don't want to select this image again. Select this cone shape, click on this icon here, select it back, and then click on it. So if you don't want to select any object again in your scene, like this picture, if you don't want to move any object in your scene, all you have to do is come here and turn it off, and then that object can no longer be selected. If I turn it on, I can now select it and do whatever I want, but I don't want to select it. So this applies to all objects in 3D Blender. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off now. That means we cannot select the image. So let's select our cube. Okay, and then let's scale it down to match the image. So scale. I'm going to click on N to hide this menu by the side, so we can have enough room to work with. Okay, as you can see now, this cube and this picture are not actually, you know, like they're not equal. Like the image of the bunny is not equal on this side as it is on this side, just like the cube is. Okay, let's just start modeling. So as to scale it down. So I'm going to be using one side of the image rather than this other side, because here it looks a bit far away from the cube and here it looks closer. So I'm going to make use of this side to model than this side. Okay, so let's click on tab to enter edit mode. Okay, let's save our work. Control S. I'm gonna call it bunny. No? So save our work as bunny. So let's start modifying this shape. Now I want to use what they refer to as a mirror modifier. Now what is a mirror modifier? Why do I want to use a mirror modifier? Well, I want symmetry. You know, when I said, let me tab out. When I said I click on the thing, this cube, and I say G and I move it to one side, and then I said Alt G to bring it back. Why I'm doing this is because of symmetry, so that what happens on one side be the same thing that happens on the other side. Okay, that's why we bring it back to the center of the world. But I want to use a mirror modifier to make work easy for me, so that whatever I do on one side of the cube will reflect on the other side of the cube. Okay. So I click on Ctrl R and this yellow line appears. I left click and I can move it wherever I want, but I want it to be in the center, so I just right click or click on escape and just bounce back to the center. So I decide which side I want to remove, any side at all. So before I remove any side, actually I need to enable X-ray mode. And why is that? You can see that if I select these vertices of this cube and I turn it, only the front one are orange, the back ones are not orange. And so if I now delete these ones using X vertices, the back one still remains. Okay, and that will give us problem when modeling, and we don't want problem, anything to stress us. So Ctrl Z. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to enable X-ray mode. With X-ray mode, I have the ability to just in front view select the front one and the back one is selected. So it makes work easy for us. Okay, so X vertices, and then I'm going to go to modifier, which is this range, and add a mirror modifier. Boom, and then it will go. This is our mirror modifier. So whatever I do here, let me enable clipping. If I do not enable clipping, if I select this object and I click on G, it will be breaking apart. We don't want that to break apart, so we enable clipping here. So when I click on G now, it is stuck together. Okay, hope it's making sense. If it's making sense to you, please like, subscribe, and yeah. So let's continue. So let's start modeling the shape of this bunny. So I'm going to click on A. Let's take it up. So G, Z axis, take it up in the Z axis. The Z axis is the blue line. Okay, the X axis is the red one. Okay, so let's start making it look like the bunny. So I'm going to click on this vertex. And it's also important that you leave your X-ray mode on, so that changes you're making in the front will also be affecting in the back. So 1 for front view, G, and then I move it to match the shape roughly. Select the vertex up, G, move it up. So I'm just trying to make it look like the bunny. So we can click on these ones to just G. Select these guys, this down one, click on G. Let's go Z axis, pull it down. Okay, then let's go G, X axis, and take it to the side. somewhere around here, because we cannot take it to this point because our bunny didn't get to that point. So what about this other line in the middle here? This other line here, because this does not still look like our bunny. So what I'm going to do now to make other changes is to apply loop cut. If you want to know more about loop cut, I'll be dropping a bit more information on loop cut in my email newsletter. So just check the link in the description, subscribe, and you will get it by the end of this course. Okay, so Ctrl R, loop cut, and then I'm going to drag it down. Let me just do what I did again. Ctrl Z. So Ctrl R, the yellow line appears. I'm going to enable it, and I'm going to drag it down to where I want, which is actually where this thing comes out. So I'm going to select the vertex on the edge, then G to grab and pull it out. You can also loop cut again, Ctrl R. There. Okay, there's something about Ctrl R that I didn't even mention, so, which is why you should sign up to the newsletter, but let me just say it anyways. If I click on Ctrl R and I'm touching this line, the line tends to go opposite. Okay, so if I touch this one, you see, it goes opposite. If I touch this one, it goes opposite. Touch this one, it goes opposite. Touch this one, it goes opposite. Now, what I want is I want to create another line going in this direction. So I have to come to this line here and just click on it. I don't want to use vertical and horizontal because the two of them confuses me, so I don't want to confuse you too. So select it here, G to grab, and then I move it, and slowly we are getting the shape of our rabbit. Okay, remember I said we are not matching it exactly. Okay, so don't expect here to be exactly like this side of the bunny. We just want to get, you know, I said we are using one side, so we just want to use one side to achieve what we want. Okay, so what else? I think we have gotten roughly the head of the bunny. Okay, now we can do it like this. We can leave it like this. Oh, tap. Let me just hide the image. We can leave it like this. Let me turn off X-ray mode so we can see it in solid mode. So we can leave it like this as the head of our bunny, or if you leave it like this as the head of our bunny, it's actually called low poly, because number of pulleys or the number of count of a polygon to make up our shape is small. What is polygon? I'll explain in another video, but just know that this is low poly. If I want to increase the number of polygons to make it smoother, all I have to do is go to modifier, click on add modifiers, go to subdivision surface modifier, and you see it starts to go. Let me enable my distance. It's no longer that sharp edgy shape we used to see before. Let me show you. Where is it? Okay, if I turn this off, you see, sharp, smooth, sharp, smooth. So it's just used to just subdivide the shape to make you look more smoother. I can increase it, you know, and the more I increase it under the viewport, the more smoother it gets. Okay, so we can increase it, which I think I would like to increase it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so we've gotten like the rough shape of our bunny. Let's do the ears of our bunny. And for us to do the ears, we have to import another shape. Let's use a plane, because I believe a plane will be easier for us to be able to model this ear. Now, when modeling, there are two important things you have to put in mind. First of all, you have to use something that makes life easy for you, okay? And secondly, you have to apply what I refer to as a form principle. A form principle. If you want to know more about the form principle, sign up to my email newsletter and I will drop a well-detailed explanation on form principle. But for now, let's take the first one. I'm going to click on Shift A and I'm going to import a plane. Remember, you're modeling the ear. So let's also rotate it in our direction. So let's go arrow X. You know, I'm using, because I've done it before, that's why I know X axis is preferable to make it flexors. So 90 degrees, you know why we do use 90 degrees? Because it's perfect to turn it towards our angle and make it straight on. Right, it doesn't angle. Let me show you something. If I made it arrow X, let's say 85 degrees, you can see that it's not perfectly turned. At some point it's still, let me hide this image, is what I'm saying. At some point the plane is still slanted. it's not really straight as it should be. So now for it to be straight, we have to use 90 degrees, just so you know why I'm using 90 degrees every time. Okay, so let's undo the plane using Ctrl Z. Let's bring it closer. To zoom, I'm using my mouse wheel to actually zoom. Scroll up, scroll down, help me zoom. So let's go RX 90 degrees and enter. So I'm going to, before we turn it to actually how the ear is placed in the image, let's model it first as an ear and then change it to look like what it is on the image. Okay, so let's do scale in the x-axis to bring it in. Okay, let's also scale in the z-axis to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, let's tab out, or let's enter edit mode. Now I'm going to select the top vertices. For us to be able to get this round shape of the bunny ear, we're going to use what is called beveling, or what is known as beveling. That's going to give us the round shape of the ear. Okay, so most times beveling is just used to make sharp edges rounder. Just know that that's what it's for. So we're going to use Ctrl+Shift+B as a shortcut for beveling. Pull, and let's increase the number of vertices by scrolling up and dragging, and you can see that it's actually now forming that round shape that we want. Now if you observe, you can see that this thing, if I pull it too much apart, let's zoom in a bit, Ctrl+Shift+B, bevel. If I pull it, increase the number of vertices by scrolling up in my mouse wheel. If I pull it, you can see that it's crossing each other, and we don't want it to cross each other. So what we have to do is to click on C, and it constrains it and doesn't cross each other again, just so you know. So yeah, we have gotten the rough shape of our bunny ear. So let's tab out, let's position it properly on top of the head by using G, Z-axis, pull it up. Okay, now I don't want the base of my ear to be this big, so let's reduce it, let's scale it down. So I enter tab, select the down part of the ear, click on S to scale in the x-axis. Okay, so I have to go sideways and then pull it in, and yeah, now we have gotten the rough shape of our ear. Okay, so front view, click on G, try to position it the way it should be on the head. I think I like it like this, like this. Okay, so yeah, now I've gotten the shape of our ear. Let's get the shape of the inner ear. Now for us to do this, we have to do A to select all, click A to select all, and then we're going to use what they call insert face. So insert face is just used to make a face inside the face, and we can use insert face in different things. Honestly, it's applied in different things. So I'm going to click on I, which is a shortcut to insert face, and then I'm going to pull and drag it in, and that's how we get the inner part of our bunny ear. So now I've gotten the inner part of our ear. Now what we want to do is to give our ear a little bit of volume, because it's flat, it's not 3D yet. So for us to do that, we have to use what they call extrude. I know you have heard of extrusion before, but extrusion is a way of just giving a volume to a shape, or just extending a part of a 3D shape to form other parts of a 3D shape. Don't worry, with consistency, if you continue to take in my tutorials, you understand what I'm saying, because I'll keep repeating these things over and over. Okay, so but now just know that we have to make this flat ear to be thick. Okay, there are different ways to do this. So let me show you the common one, which is extrude. So I click on A, select all. After I select A to select all, what I have to do now is click on E, select E to extrude, and then pull it out. So A to select all. Let's go to 1. You can scale it down if you want. G, Z to bring it back down. G, let's move it in the x-axis so it shows out a bit. And yeah, we're almost done with our bunny. Now I want to bend it forward. Okay, if I go over to 3, or before then, because I really want to bend one ear to make the ears, you know, different. So let's go back to 1. Let's use Shift D or Alt D. So let's use Shift D. Shift D means to duplicate. So let's go Shift D, and then let's move that in the x-axis to make a second ear. Voila, we have this other ear. Let's adjust them well. So G, X here. You can add to rotate. Okay. Then we can go G, X, X. No. Let's go G. Let's go. Can just drag, pull it in. But let me show you something in Blender called local axis. Okay. So if I click on G, X, Y, okay, let me just enter 3D viewport or the perspective mode. If I click on G, X, Y, sorry, if I click on G, X, Y, Z, all these lines you are seeing popping up are referred to as global axes. They are like the normal world axis of Blender. But in this case now, our ear is not in any of those directions. Our ear is actually diagonal to 3 of them. It's like if you observe this thing here, here is our Z, here's our X, here's our Y. But our, let me just draw it as how you see. Let me go to a plane. This is it. This is it. Okay. This is Blender. So here is our Z. Here is our X. Let me just say X. Then here's our Y. Or here's our Y. Here's our X. But you get what I'm saying. Now here, these things are referred to as the global axis. 3 of them. What have I done? Well, you get what I'm saying. 3 of them are referred to as global axis. They're like the standard axis of Blender. Okay, I have to draw this thing again. Let me draw it again so you understand what I'm saying. So this is Z, this is X. Then in 3D, here it becomes our Y. Okay, just the red, green, blue, and rest of them. Now these are the global axis in Blender. Okay, this is like the normal world axis. But what happens when I want to manipulate an object that is actually coming not according to the global axis, but like this here, it's diagonal to the global axis? Then I have to use what they call local axis. In other words, I want to use the axis of the object itself. So how do we do that? Let me just undo all these lines that I scribbled everywhere. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We just have to find which axis this ear is traveling to. Normally, to switch from global to local axis, all you have to do is tap on the axis twice. So if I click on Z, if I click on, let's say G, Z, see the blue line. If I click on Z again, I've switched to local axis. So look at it, G, Z, Z, switch to local axis. This is the global, G, Z. This is the global axis, Z is local axis. So G twice, Z twice gives us the local axis. Okay, if I go to X, G, X, this is the global axis. X again is the local axis. Same thing goes for Y. Y, global axis, Y, local axis. So let's go back to the front view. Now, what axis are we going to use to be able to push this ear straight into the bunny? Like this. Like this. So it enters like this into the bunny. Well, all we have to do is try and error to find out which one, because we can't just guess it out straight from our head. So let's go back. Ctrl Z, Z, Z. Ctrl Shift Z. Now we have to try it out. So we'll go G, Z axis, nothing. X axis, nothing. It's going up and down, but not really going inside the pony. So let's try a different view. Let's go side view. Okay, so try G, Z axis, nothing. Y axis. Yes, it works. Now let me show you in perspective view so you see it better. If I go to G, Z axis, it doesn't go inside. G, X axis, it doesn't go inside. But if I switch to Y axis, which is the local, it goes inside a bunny. So that is the difference between global axis and local axis, in case if you are wondering. if you have heard it somewhere before and you wanted to know, and you really wanted to know what it is, this is what global and local axis is, and this is how you use it. Simple. Okay, so let's go back to the front view. Let's select this guy too. We can arrow to rotate to the guy. Let's go G. Then we want to move it inside too. So let's go back to perspective view. This is called perspective view. Why if I click my 1, 3, 7, it's called orthographic view, in case if you don't know. So let's go back to perspective view. Let's now click on G, Y twice, and then we can move it in. Then we can now go G, X twice, and we can take it up, I guess. Okay, let's go G, X. Okay, that's moving it inside. Let's want to take it up, so let's go G, X, X. Yeah, it goes up. Let's go back to 1. Yeah, something like that. Let's go G. Just G. Y. Let me bring it out a bit. So that's how global local axis works. I know we have stumbled far away from where we began. Okay, so let's put back our image. Our nose, we need a nose, and then we need eyes and this bunny thing. Okay, so for the eyes, a simple cube can form these eyes, and a simple cylinder can form these eyes, because judging from the shape of the eyes, you can actually guess. That's why you have to understand form principle. So don't forget to sign up to my newsletter. Now let's go Shift A. Let's add in a. You can use a plane, you can use a cube, but let's go with the cube. S to scale it down. Let's go back to 3, so we can bring it out of our rabbit. So let's go G. Let's go Y axis. Then we'll bring it out to the front. You can also scale it here too. So G, scale, Y axis, take it inside. So it's a bit flat. Okay. So now back to the front view. Let's go G, let's go X as it, scale it inside. Now let's just grab this guy, move it to where the eye is. Okay, we can R to rotate, so it just matches the shape of the eye. We can S again to scale. S to scale, let me see. Okay, S to scale again, so that it's small as, so that it should be as small as the bunny's eye. So let's G to grab, pull it down here. Now we want to form this shape like this, the way the shape is. So for us to do it, we have to enter edit mode. So click on tab. Okay, let's zoom in a bit. So now what we want is to push this guy out and then push it down here like this. So we want this bottom to come out like this and like this. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, all we have to do is select the bottom actually. So select the bottom of the cube, which is this guy. Let's switch to face selection mode. Now I know you have heard of this selection mode before in Blender: vertex, edge, face. Let me just tell you how it works. Now vertices are these little black dots, and they are the basics of all 3D shapes. Okay, so one vertex is just a dot in space. If I connect one vertex to another vertex, I get an edge, which is this line here. Or if I connect more than one vertex, I get what is referred to as a face, which is this thing in the middle. So this is an edge, this here is a face presented as F, and here this dot is called a vertex. Okay, so now how do I know the one to choose? Okay, so how do I know which one to choose and when to choose it? Well, it's all about what you want to do actually. In this our case now, we want to extrude this face down. Okay, so what we need is face selection mode, which is this guy here. You will just know more about when to choose all these things when you constantly, check out my tutorial videos. So don't forget to like and subscribe, so that when I drop any tutorials, you'll be able to be notified and you can follow along. So select that face. Let's go G to grab, and then let's pull it down. Okay, Then what else we have to do? We have to bend this face to come out like this. But we cannot bend this face to come out like this. It's not possible. If I click on G, I'll just be moving it around. We cannot really bend that face to come out the way we want it to come out. So the only thing that will give us this other part here, this guy here, is if we apply loop cut. So for us to apply loop cut, all we have to do is Ctrl R, and then we put it somewhere around here, because that is where this one starts to bend out towards like this. And then what we have to do is select this face coming out in this direction. Okay. If you don't understand anything here, just don't worry. As you continue taking my tutorials, these little ones I'm dropping, you will grasp it in no time. Okay, are you seeing this thing now? I'm saying I need to select this face here, because if I select this edge and G to grab, it's giving me this weird shape, which is not actually the shape of the image. So I need to select the face. Okay.
Oh, shit.
So I switch to face selection mode, select this face here, and what do I do now? Do I G to grab? No, because I'm not going to get the shape right. What I have to do is E to extrude. When I do E to extrude and pull it out, it now gives me the shape that I want. One of these things, will I say a trial by error? Maybe, maybe not. But with time, actually, you will be able to understand why and when to use what and where. You know, like I just said, G doesn't work. That means E should work, which is E to extrude. And then we have this shape that we want, forming a shape out of an already existing shape. Like I told you before, that's what E extrude does. Or, you know, making an object thick. So let me just save my work. Now, I've gotten the eye of our bunny. Let me hide the image. Yeah, we've gotten one eye of our bunny, but if I go to the side view, it's far away from our face, so I actually have to bring it closer to our bunny by using G and Y axis, and then put it on top of the face of our bunny. Yeah, if you have gotten to this point and you are understanding and following along, then congrats to you. You're almost no longer a Blender beginner. Okay, so let's get the other eye of our bunny from our image. You know, it has another dotted eye here. So I said before, let's use a cylinder. So, you know, rather than doing Shift A and add an object and it appears in the center here, let's put it, because we want our cylinder to actually be here on the eye, not on the forehead. So how do we now move our cylinder so that it comes to the eye itself and not on the forehead of our bunny? Well, all we have to do is, let me Ctrl Z this. We have to move this 3D cursor to where the eye is using Shift and right click, and it bounces there. Wherever this 3D cursor is where our shape will be, is where our imported shape will appear. Okay, so if I click on Shift A now, I click on cube, our cube will appear here. S to scale, I see it. Do you understand? That is function of 3D cursor. It still has other functions though, but this is like one of the primary functions. So what we want is a cylinder, not a cube. So let's Ctrl Z. Then let's go Shift A. Let's import our cylinder. So let's go. Now we want to rotate it to face us. What do? We go arrow, we go X, we go 90 degrees, and voila. Hopefully you know this one by now. So let's S to scale so it matches or becomes small like the eye. S to scale. Now our eye is not circle. Our eye is a little bit oval. So what do? We have to stretch it in the Z axis and the X axis. So let's scale in the Z axis. Aha, now it's working. So scale in the Z axis, scale in the X axis. Now it's giving us that oval shape, and then scale down. Okay, now it's still cylindrical. Let me go to the side view. Let me just reduce it in the Y axis so that it's a little bit flat. Okay, so let's bring it out of our rabbit, because now it's inside our rabbit. So we'll go G, we'll go Y, then we'll pull it out. And voila. Let's observe what we have done too far. It's too far away, so let me just G and X axis and bring it inside. A bunny looking head. So let's go G, let's go Shift and drag. Okay, these things are not in the same line, so let me just G set as this, take it up so that roughly on the same place. Okay, don't forget to save your work, it's very important. Okay, so let's bring back our image. Let's go back to the one which is the front view. So let's now get the nose and the mouth thing, I guess. Mouth thing. Okay, so now to get our nose is the same thing as a simple cylinder too. Or you can use a sphere, but I just prefer to use a cylinder. It's a choice. So to put our nose where the nose is, we have to use shift and right click. Shift right click. So I want to click on shift A and we go to sphere or cylinder like I like, and then we'll go rotate X axis 90 degrees, enter S to scale. The nose appears where our own nose is. Let's go to 3. Okay, let's scale in the Y axis, just take it inside a bit. Let's go back to 1. Now let's get this thing coming out of our character's nose. For us to get this, we have to use a Bezier curve, because obviously it's curved. We have to use a Bezier curve to run it. We can also use vertices, but let's go with a Bezier curve. So shift A, let's go to mesh. Okay, let's go to curves. Then let's go to Bezier curve. Okay. Let's click on slash to go to isolation mode. Let's click on tab so we can be able to make changes. Isolation mode is just separating the in this case Bezier curve from the rest of the shape, so we can only work on it and then we can go back and add it to the rest of the shape. Now we want it to bend like the way the image shows us, so we're going to be messing around with these little control points. So let's select this end one, let's go G, pull it down. Okay, then here too, let's take it up, G. No, let's select the end here, G. Aha, something like this. Yeah, and voila. Now let's go over to the curve menu here. Let's go over to geometry. Let's go to depth. Then let's increase it. Make it fat. Voila. Oh, this thing is a bit twisted. Let's go to the side view and see if we can fix it. Tab. What am I not getting right? G. Y axis. Okay. Aha. So just click on G and reset it to its straight as it ought to be, and yeah, there we go. Okay, so Ctrl S, don't forget to save. So let's tab out. So I've gotten the, unless I don't know what they call it in the count, I mean a rabbit. Let's convert this shape to a mesh. Okay, now we are converting this thing to mesh so that we can be able to cover these holes that are here. So we click on tab, switch to vertex mode, vertices on the rim like this, and then click on F to fill it, and then we'll fill the face. Okay, then same thing goes for this one. F to fill the face, and that's why we come back to mesh. Okay, so let's go back, let's leave isolation mode. Let's scale it down. S to scale. So let's G to grab. Let's place it at the image. So let's place it the way it appears on the image, and then let's replicate this thing that belongs to the rabbit on this other side. So let's do shift D, bring it to this side. Let's move it in the X axis so it's on the same level, and then let's leave it there. Let's hide this image. And slowly but surely we have been able to create the bunny in the picture to reality. Okay, so now we've got our bunny in real life. Let's now save our work. Now next. What we have to do now is to add color to our object. Okay, let me organize our work. Okay, so let me just select this, and since they are eyes, I can just join them together. So I apply the same material on them. Just makes life easier for us because they are eyes. So let's join them and give them the same material, like the same color of eyes, because they are both same color of eyes. But if you don't want to give the same color of eyes, then no need to join them. Same goes for these ones too. Since they are the same, we call them whiskers. Let's just Ctrl J to join them. Okay, same thing. Okay, no need for the ear on. Now let's smooth the body of this rabbit, because these straight lines we don't want them. So how do we smoothen it? You just right click and click on shade smooth, and boom, it's smooth. If you want to return it back, right click and click on shade flat, and it's flat. We want it smooth, so shade smooth. Okay, so don't forget to save your work. Okay, then what else can we do? First, adding materials. I think we are good to go. Okay, so let's start adding materials. I want to make this a black bunny. So let's come over to this side of the screen. Select here, this is where we add materials. Click on it, click on new. Material is like color, coloring. Okay, we can rename the material. Let's call it rabbit 10. I don't know what it is. Can rename it rabbit 10, and it's been named rabbit 10. Now what do you want to pick as the color of a rabbit 10? Let's make it, since we want to make the rabbit black. Okay, should we make it white? Okay, first of all, let's apply materials to the head of the rabbit first and see how things are looking. Now for us to apply material, we have to switch over to what is referred to as the material preview mode. So here, this mode helps us see the materials we're applying as we're applying them into the object. So we'll click on it and we are in material preview mode. So if I select my rabbit head, okay, it has the material already. I'm just going to change the color of the material to black. Voila, the rabbit is black. Now for the ear, select the ear. The ear also has to have the same material as the rabbit head. So let me just rename this thing as rabbit head. Rabbit head. Now we reuse materials so that we save ourselves from stress. Okay. If you like stress, then continue creating the materials. If you don't like stress, reuse materials. So we'll come here. Let me show you what I did. I selected the ear. I went here. Here is like library of materials, okay, that you created. So I went there and I'm going to pick from the library rabbit ear head. Select on it and rabbit head has been applied. But wait, what about the pink inner ear? How do we do that? Well, it's very simple. Select the rabbit ear, click on tab, and then we'll see the face of the rabbit inner ear. Switch to face selection mode, because if you want to do vertex selection mode, you have to select these vertices first, and then I'll come and select this one here. Let me show you. It's going to take time, honestly. So let's switch over to face selection mode. I just click on it. I told you it's just choice on which one is going to be easier for you. Now when we select that, we can now okay, let's tab out. Let's leave edit mode. Let's create the inner ear material. So we'll click on plus sign, click on new for new material, and then we can rename it as inner ear. Okay, inner ear. Okay, then we can now change the color of the inner ear to, let's say, pink. So let's go to tab. Now we select the face and then we'll click on inner ear, and then we click on assign, and voila, our rabbit has an inner ear color. So we'll do the same thing again for this one. Select this guy, give him the same rabbit head material, then tab, select the inner face, and then we'll select material from the material library, inner ear. No. Rabbit head. Okay, let's add a new material. Let's now select from the library, inner ear, and then let's select the face and assign it. Voila, inner ear for a rabbit. Okay, we're doing good so far. So far so good. We have gotten the head of our rabbit. We can still add different colors to different things on this rabbit, like the eyes. We can give them different color. Can give them a different color by adding a new material, and then we just change the color. Let's say red or yellow or whatever you feel like, or grayish color or blue, but we have to use color that actually rhymes. So we can go with like something like red or just white grayish color, grayish pink, something like this. Looks nice. Then what else? Let's change the color of the nose. Let's add a new material to the color of the nose. Let's change it to green. Let's just reuse this pink color. I think that would be nice. Which is rabbit inner ear, Abby? Inner ear. Inner ear looks nice. Oh, let's leave it as white. Let's take the eye color. Let me name it as eyes. Eyes. So let's just use the same eye color here. I think it works better. Eye. So yeah, this is apparently everything you need to know. There are more, to be honest, there are more. Let's go to the inner ear. I want to make it more reflective, so let me increase the roughness so that it reflects more of it. Okay. Yeah, so we have completed. Let me rotate this again. We've completed our bunny for beginners, and I hope you have learned something. I hope you learned something. Let me stick it inside a bit. You mustn't do what I'm doing. I'm just trying to do a little bit of finishing touch here and there. Rabbit head. Let me make it more reflective. To make it more reflective, I just have to bring this guy down. Let's say 0.3. It all makes it more reflective, makes it more shiny. Now let's